On your marks, get set, go. And off you are on the fast track to CAPM success. Hello, everybody. I am Cornelius Fichtner, and this is your introduction to mastering the CAPM exam. Thank you so much for joining me. Here is the agenda for today. We have a lot to get through, and so I have sectioned this off into 4 parts. We're going to do some exam overview. What is the exam in general? How to apply for the exam. I want to give you an exam schedule as well, sort of a study schedule, and over time, and then also how to take the exam. And I want to close with some take action and also some takeaways, because I want to leave you with something that you can actually do and take away from this here. Oh, and by the way, for those of you joining me live on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, please do use the chat that you have available there. And if you have any questions during the webinar, feel free to ask, and I will answer your question live on the air. Before we jump into part 1, please don't forget, we offer a complete suite of CAPM exam preparation tools. On the left here, we have the Prepcast for CAPM, our on-demand self-study course at pmprepcast.com/CAPM. And on the right, you see the Prepcast simulator at pmexamsimulator.com/CAPM. Together, they will help you get ready to pass your exam on the first try. So in part 1, I want to focus specifically on the CAPM exam itself, facts, figures, why you should take the CAPM exam, some prerequisites, all of the foundational information. And we're starting with this question here. What is the CAPM exam? And this comes from PMI directly. The CAPM is an entry-level certification test designed to assess fundamental knowledge in project management, essential for embarking on a project management career. And I think the 2 important things to remember from this one here, entry-level and embarking on a project management career. That's really what the CAPM is for. Here's an overview of the PMI family of certifications for you, with the CAPM there at the top center. And PMI offers these certifications specifically for various reasons. If you are risk averse, you're probably going for the one at the bottom left, the risk management professional. If your focus is on doing schedules on project, well, you're going for the scheduling professional. If you're doing more agile projects, you're probably going to go at the top right, PMI ACP, or at the bottom center, disciplined agile. But if you are a generalist, a project management generalist, you're going to go for the top left and the top center. CAPM, entry-level project management, a generalist, and top left, that is more of the professional, the expert, the PMP certification. So PMI offers certifications for all your needs and wherever you may be in your project management career, whether you're starting up or whether you are an expert. A couple of numbers here that PMI currently shows on its website. 1.6 million people around the world have a PMI certification. Out of those 1.6, 1.4 million people hold a PMP. So let me go back to the previous slide here. 1.6 million in total across all of these, and just the top left box there, PMP 1.4, which means that the rest of them, about 200 to 300,000 in total. And the last number that I truly have here, so if you're wondering how many does the CAPM have, let me cheat here, 42,647. That is the number I have from 2020. That was the last time that PMI officially announced the number of CAPM students. It would have grown since then, right? And obviously that's a lot less than the PMP with 1.4 million, right? To about, what, 50,000, something like that. Does that mean that the CAPM certification is less valuable? Well, no, not at all. Because granted, the CAPM has a lower recognition than the PMP, offers a limited scope for advancement, but its value lies in the fact that it's an entry-level certification. Excellent starting point for your career in project management. It demonstrates your commitment to the project management profession, your willingness to invest in your professional development. It shows potential employers that you have a formal understanding of project management principles, and it is a stepping stone towards the PMP, which means it helps you in gaining a deeper understanding of PMI's framework, which is widely used in the industry. So think of the CAPM as your springboard into the world of project management. It gives you an introduction to project management principles. So it's not just a certificate, but a gateway to really mastering the essentials, setting you up for success right from the start, and giving you that edge in a competitive field. And don't just believe me or PMI when we are saying that. According to an article in the Entrepreneur magazine from June 2023, the CAPM is the most in-demand certification you can get right from the start. And let me read what they say. They say, if you want to become a supervisor or manager in any capacity, you will need a certificate proving that you have the skills needed to succeed. That's where the CAPM certificate comes in. This associate level certification, interesting, they call it associate level certification, is perfect if you still need to gain experience managing company projects. Now, personally, I also think that one of the reasons why the CAPM is probably at the top and the PMP is second is because, well, the CAPM is the entry level and the PMP is for more advanced project managers. And by the way, the third one, the IBAAC, that is the Agile Analysis Certification from IIBA that they have on the third place right here. All right, I get a few messages on the chat, people just saying hello. So hello, James from Boise, Idaho. He's joined us. So here is what the CAPM does for you. So 3 reasons why to get the CAPM. First, understanding of global project management fundamentals. The CAPM demonstrates your grasp of that. Then second, the CAPM certification, it fosters sort of a dynamic environment in project teams. It helps you understand how project teams work, a spirit of collaboration, commitment, right? And this is not just valuable for project management. This goes beyond project management. That's in regular corporate teams if you are in a department working with a team there. And then third, the CAPM certification not only serves as your stepping stone into project management, it also opens doors to career opportunities, right? From entry-level roles to sort of mid-level junior project managers. If we look at this on a scale right here, this is sort of the career path of somebody going into project management. It's clear the PMP certification is there at the top right. After about 3 years, you've done your initial project, you have experience, and the CAPM isn't there near the bottom. There's zero judgment if I say is there near the bottom, because it is what it is. You are new to project management. You're starting out on your career. And with the CAPM, you can show your qualities and that you have the experience for someone at that level of your career. Zero judgment. That's the intent of the CAPM exam to show you have started, you have the foundational experience. When it comes to the requirements, there are two sides to this. You need academic education and you need professional education. On the left, you need a secondary degree, a high school diploma, a GED, general educational development is that, or a global equivalent. In other words, if you have finished high school in your country, wherever you may live, you have 50%. So one half is complete. And the other half is then on the right-hand side here. That is the professional education, where the good news is that no project experience is needed, but you must show that you have received at least 23 hours of project management training. Now, PMI is not overly specific about what type of course you need, what type of this 23 hours of education you need, but may I strongly recommend that the training you get is an actual CAPM exam prep course. The reason for this is simple. If you just take a general introduction to project management course, then, well, yeah, that is an introduction to project management. But if you want to pass the CAPM exam, you want somebody to teach you, what do I need to know to pass this exam? To put it another way, if you want to participate in the Boston Marathon or the Paris-London Marathon, whatever, you need to prepare to take that marathon, to go to that marathon. You could buy a bicycle, because a bicycle will help you to get fit, and you can take the bicycle to ride 42 roughly kilometers, and it'll get you from the start to the finish of a marathon, right? And it will give you sort of training to do that. But when you're actually standing at the starting line at the marathon and you suddenly realize, oh, I have to run. Why on earth did I buy a bicycle, right? Now it makes sense. So don't just take any project management course. Instead, use a specifically designed CAPM exam prep course. And if you're looking for those 23 hours of project management education and training, then let me remind you the prep cost for CAPM, which you can find at pm-prepcost.com/CAPM. That is specifically designed to help you prepare for the CAPM exam. We're moving on to part 2. In part 2, we're going to be talking about the application process, where you have to fill in an online form. I'll show you that. And I also have a tip for you regarding application audits. Let's begin with the process of how this actually works, the application. There are 5 steps in this process. First of all, you have to create an account with PMI. You need a username, you need a password. Then, once you have that and you are logged in, you can go to the CAPM page and simply click on Apply Now for the CAPM exam. After that, you can look at, you have to fill in the education section of the application form, just like we saw earlier. You need the academic and the project management type of education. Then the page 2 of the application form is what they call exam details. You have to fill those in, and I'll show you what they are in a minute. And then you hit Submit Application. In total, this should take you from start to finish not more than 30 minutes, and your application for the CAPM exam is complete. What I didn't mention in this process here, it is strongly recommended that maybe between step 1 and 2 here, once you have your PMI account created, become a PMI member. First, register your PMI membership. There is a fee associated with that, but yes, more cost, but you also get a discount for the CAPM exam, plus you get a free PDF copy of the PMBOK guide, you get a free PDF copy of the Agile practice guide, and the CAPM exam also includes business analysis, and you also get a free PDF of the BA standard that PMI has for that. So you get 3 free documents plus the discount. Overall, paying the membership fee is actually a good thing to do. So these are the 5 steps, no more than 30 minutes, and you are done. Here are the 2 pages that you need to fill in. Obviously, you can't see anything here, so let's zoom in to this here. And what I did, I simply went to the CAPM page and said, I want to apply for it. And I already had an existing PMI account. I am PMP certified, and the system did remember my high school diploma because I had to put this in when I took my PMP exam. So I put in my high school diploma. It remembered it. It remembered the year when I went there. It remembered the name of the school, everything, right? If you are new, then you have to provide just 3 pieces of information. The type of diploma it was, the years when you attended, and the name of the school. And note, by the way, here, when you look at this, there's only edit education, right? There is no upload button. PMI does not require you to upload your diploma. They just want the information about it, okay? Then scrolling down, this is now your professional education. This is where you tell them about your 23 hours of education that you had. I put in my own course, so you have to provide the course name. I put in the PM prep cost for CAPM, as you can see right there. Let me use my laser pointer here. You can see that right here. Wait, is it working? Is it not working? Laser pointer. There we go. Right there. There it is. Laser pointer coming up right there. And then the course provider, that's the name of my company right here, OSP International. When did I take the course? I actually taught the course during that time. So that's the number at the time I put in. It's 23 hours in duration. That's all you have to put in. Course name, course provider, start and end date, and how many hours. So really quite simple. Again, no upload button. You do not have to provide a copy of your certificate. Just the information about the course is required. Not even a certificate of completion is needed at this time. All right, that was page 1. Pretty simple, right? 7 pieces of information and you're done. On page 2, this is what they call the exam details. First thing you have to say is the exam location. I currently live in the US, so I selected United States. And if you live elsewhere, you would just hit the drop down and pick your country. And note that it says, where do you intend to take your exam? So, right now you may be living in France, but when you're actually taking it, you've moved to Italy. Well, then, you're changing it and you're now taking it in Italy. That's not a problem at all. Then you have to provide some information about yourself, nothing that you wouldn't expect. Your name, your address, your email address, your phone number, right? So all of that information is pretty straightforward that you need. And then name on the certificate. Let's say your name is James, but you go by Jim, right? So maybe in the address or the name at the top, you have Jim as your first name, but on the certificate, you would like James. Then you would simply put that in at the bottom. You would put James instead of Jim. And then the last section here is the exam accommodations, where you can say whether or not you need some special help during your exam. For example, a large font exam, you need additional time. You need somebody to actually read the questions to you. You need a separate testing room, an adjustable height desk, additional breaks, or you need a scribe, somebody write things for you. All of that can be accommodated by PMI, and you have to mention it here. And please note, you'd have to have written confirmation from a professional in order to get this. So, you know, if you need a reader, there has to be a solid reason for it. Also, if you are in a wheelchair, then you do not have to request for that, because PMI says that most of its testing centers around the world by Pearson VUE, they are accessible for handicapped, they have handicapped access, so you do not need to request that. But do contact the testing center. Make sure that they do in fact offer a ramp for wheelchairs or things like that in case you need that type of information. Then you need to click those 2 checkboxes, agreeing to the terms and agreements, as well as confirming that all the information right there is complete. Yeah, and that's it already. Right there. These are the 2 pages you have to fill in after you click the submit button at the bottom. You are done. And then here is what may happen. Your application may be audited. PMI reserves the right to audit applications. This is especially true for the PMP exam. I do not have any current feedback from students about my CAPM application was audited. Most people who tell me that they got audited are on the PMP side, but your application may be audited. How do you prepare for an audit? Put in the information that is correct. Be truthful in your application. That's it. And have documentation for it. So have your diploma from the school, have your course certificate ready for the 23 hours, so that when PMI comes to you and says, we now will audit your application, you have to upload those and provide that information to PMI, right? So that may happen at that point. There is nothing wrong with your application if you get audited. This is completely 100% random. There is no profiling. PMI clearly states that they don't do profiling. It is an absolutely random system in regards to who and when might an audit happen. We're moving on to part 3. This is the exam schedule. This is sort of the recommended schedule for not just for taking the exam, for preparing for the exam and signing up and filling in all those forms and doing all of that. So let's get started. So this is your exam success schedule. It begins with your purchase of a CAPM training course. It should actually begin slightly before that, making sure that you qualify, right? Do I have a GED? Do I have a high school diploma? Without that, you cannot actually become CAPM certified. So you purchase the CAPM exam prep training that will give you those 23 hours, and you will start going through the training at that point. Then you want to join PMI. Remember earlier on I said it is best to join PMI first before you submit your application online, right there, right? Yes, it does cost a little bit of money, but you get all those fun discounts. And then you submit your application online like we have just seen, and there might be an audit. After that, you will go through your studies. Obviously, in parallel there to joining and submitting, you can do all of that at the same time. And if you take a live class, you know, first you go to the live class, then you do self-directed studies. Personally, I find that live classes for the CAPM, not really needed. You can do all of this in self-study using an appropriate CAPM exam prep course. I recommend somewhere between 4 to 8 weeks of studies. In total, you'll have to do about 50 hours of learning. So that's the 23 hours of the training course. And then you're going to have to put in another 23 hours of studying on your own. And those square boxes, by the way, these are all about exam simulators and taking simulated quizzes and simulated exams. So, you know, test yourself on a simulated exam, then review, keep learning, test yourself a few days later again on another one. So just keep doing that. Keep preparing for that marathon that you will have with the right tools. From here on, PMI will ask at some point for a payment that it costs some money to take the CAPM exam. And once you feel ready, you can then actually register for your CAPM exam at Pearson VUE. PMI uses an external, a third-party vendor called Pearson VUE, and you will take your exam at Pearson VUE. Be very honest, you can take the CAPM exam online. I do not recommend it. There are so many horror stories about people just picking their nose quickly because it's itching, and the proctor who's watching you as you take your exam says, that was an illegal move, your CAPM exam is hereby cancelled, right? And there's nothing you can do. So my recommendation, go to a physical location, take your exam at the physical location if you want to avoid any trouble right there from the start. And now my nose itches as I'm talking about this. All right. What comes after that? Then you will get tested. You're going to take your exam. The exam takes 3 hours, total duration. And at the end of it, you are CAPM certified for 3 years. And after that, you have to recertify by earning 15 PDUs. I am going to have another live stream, another lesson about what exactly the PDUs are and how exactly that recertification cycle works there. Okay, that's it for part 3 there for our exam success schedule. Now let's talk about part 4, the exam itself. Duration, number of questions, exam results. If you paid attention on the previous slide, you already know the duration. It is 3 hours in duration, but how exactly is it all going down? So here we are. So we have the exam duration, 150 CAPM questions in 3 hours. There is one 10-minute break, and the total time is therefore 3 hours and 10 minutes. A big tip, leave no question unanswered. And at the bottom, you kind of see this as a sort of a timeline. So the whole thing starts with a tutorial in light blue. Then the system will give you 75 questions. Then there is the 10-minute break. Then there is another 75 questions. And at the end of that is a survey. And the reason why the tutorial and the survey are in a different color is because the tutorial and the survey, they do not count towards your total duration of 3 hours and 10 minutes. So the tutorial, PMI says about 5 to 10 minutes. The survey, PMI also says 5 to 10, outside of the actual 3 hours and 10 minutes testing time. And this is important. You want to know how to manage your time. This is what the ideal situation is. 90 minutes, 1.5 hours for the first 75 questions, then a 10-minute break. I strongly recommend that you do take that break, by the way, and that you sort of wind down before you move on to the next 75 questions, which takes you another 90 minutes. So you want to get used to that particular cadence. What you don't want to happen is never having taken a CAPM exam at all, a practice exam, and then during the actual exam, you realize, oh my God, I've spent 2 hours on the first 75 questions. 2/3 of my time is gone. I'm not just going to skip the break and I'm just going to rush forward and I'm going to spend another 60 minutes there on my remaining 75 questions. 60 minutes on 75 questions, that's like, what, 50 seconds per question? That's hardly enough time to read the question, think about it, and you're probably just going to randomly pick questions at that point, pick answers at that point. So you really want to make sure that you manage your time, that you're used to this particular cadence there of 90, 10, 90 before you take your real CAPM exam. And of course, the best way to make sure that you're able to manage your time right, and that you know all the question types and that you're ready to pass the exam, use an exam simulator. All right, that's my recommendation. Mine is at pmexamsimulator.com/CAPM with over 600 questions. It covers everything that PMI requires in their exam specifications. It gets dozens of 5-star reviews all the time. Here are the question types that you can expect to see on the CAPM exam. Multiple choice, that's where you have one question, 4 answers, and then, A, B, C, D, one of the 4 is right. The next one is multiple correct. You maybe have 5 or 6, and then you have to select 2 or 3, and the question will say, select 2, select 3, and so on. Drag and drop, this is where you drag things around and put them in the right order. Point and click, where you see a graphic, and the question maybe says, where is most money spent in this graphic? And then you have to click into a certain area. Fill in the blank, limited. So instead of clicking A, B, C, D, which is the correct answer, you type A, B, C, D on your keyboard right there. And then there's also animation videos and a comic strip that PMI has. And yeah, this is the fun one there, the comic strip. This example is taken straight from the CAPM exam content outline. Most important document, by the way, for the CAPM exam is the exam content outline. I have another lesson on that coming up. And I apologize for the blurriness of this. This is the way that it is in the CAPM exam content outline. So it's not me, it is the way that PMI has provided this example here. And my understanding is that the comic strip is first and foremost to show and explain a scenario, and then underneath the question, underneath the comic strip, there is a question, and the answers are written in text below the strip. And so these are the type of questions that you're going to have to be familiar with. Then a question that we often get is, what is the CAPM exam pass rate? The answer is only PMI knows, right? We do not know how many people pass the exam. So out of 100, how many will pass? We don't know that. And we also don't know the passing score. So how many questions do you need to answer correctly in order to pass? We do not know that. All we know is that PMI says that the exam is scored based on what you can see here, sound psychometric analysis, right? The general idea behind it is this. PMI has set a certain level of difficulty for the exam. And then even though you have different answers than your colleague, you may have more difficult questions. Your colleague may have more medium hard questions. The difficulty level is still the same in both exams. So because you have more difficult questions, you will also have a lot more simple and easy questions to answer, so that it levels out, right? So that's sort of the idea behind it and the way that I understand it. And so each exam is the same in the level of difficulty. If anybody tells you the passing rate is 61%, that's a number that's floating out there, tell them they have absolutely no idea what they are talking about. We do not know what the numbers are. PMI does not officially say that. What PMI does give you is this here at the end, performance report. PMI tells you where you are at in regard to your performance. And let me maybe highlight this again for you with my laser pointer. Performance ratings and categories here. You can see above target, target, below target, and needs improvement. They're explained down here. And here at the top, we have the needs improvement, below target, target, and above target. And in this particular case here, you can see that this person is here, sort of a quarter into the above target situation right there. When you scroll down at the bottom, it will also tell you the performance by domain. These domains come from the exam content outline. The people domain, above target, process. Wait a minute, this looks very much like a CA. This looks very much like a PMP thing. I apologize. This is not the correct one. This looks like an example that I've taken here from the PMP. Why I have, yep, it says right there at the top, why I have the PMP here. I apologize. I do have examples for the CAPM. I have not updated this presentation. Sorry about that. Let's move on in that case. But generally speaking, the exam report is the same for the CAPM as well, except that down here, instead of these 3 performance domains, you will see 4 performance domains that where you are being told individually what your performance is for each of them. So the question I have is this here. Yeah, what if I fail the exam, right? What if I do not pass the exam? Well, yeah, here's an example of what this might look like. This is an example from PMI. That's the only fail example that they provide here. You can clearly see that they're at the top, your overall performance fail, and you can see all the red at the bottom. Again, this is from an older PMP exam report. PMI has not provided an updated version of this, unfortunately. And what you now can do is you can now drill down into this. So you can really go into these domains and see, okay, where did I not do well? What do I have to study? How do I go about doing this? Now, again, I apologize profusely that I have PMP and not CAPM exam reports here. Here's the good news. I have another lesson which is called the CAPM pass rate and exam report. In that lesson, I have updated versions of this. So check out that lesson if you're interested about more details of the CAPM pass rate and in particular the exam report right here. Yeah, with that, we have come close to the end of our general overview of the CAPM exam. And I want to leave you with 2 take action items here. First of all, I want you to download the PMI Certifications Handbook. And you can see the link there. Go to pm-prepcast.com/CAPMHB. That's CAPM Handbook, right? So CAPMHB. That will get you the certification handbook. In the certification handbook, this is for all PMI certifications, you can read the general administrative requirements, where to apply, how much it costs, all of that across all of PMI's certifications, including, obviously, the CAPM certification. So this is good administrative background to have. And then, I mentioned this previously, the CAPM exam content outline, the ECO. This is the most important document that you need to know for the CAPM exam. You need to read everything cover to cover, the first word to the last word in that document. This is extremely important. pmprepcast.com/CAPM outline. Another lesson specific to that document is also available from me, where we go and delve deep into this special trick that I have for you in that lesson. How do you use the CAPM exam content outline to make sure that you have studied all the information that you need to know for passing your CAPM exam? How can you use that document to sort of as a checklist to make sure I know the right stuff to pass this exam. So watch that lesson for that particular trick right there. Yeah, so this is the take action. These two things I want you to do. Download and read the handbook. Download and read the exam content outline. And then the takeaways. And 4 of them, if I see that right. Yeah. So it is an entry-level project management certification, but that's the intent. It's not negative that is an entry-level project management certification, because there are always people who are at that level and who want a certification to show, yes, this is my career. I'm starting out. I'm getting going right there with this career. The eligibility requirements are really relaxed. You need academic education, you need professional education for 23 hours. And by the way, when I say relaxed here, this is in comparison to other PMI certifications where it's really stringent and you have to have that many hours of experience and you have to prove all of this and put in details. So from that perspective, relaxed with air quotes for the CAPM, right? Because you only need those academic and professional education information and you're pretty much done. You have 3 hours to answer 150 questions on your actual CAPM exam. And then every 3 years, you have to recertify, because the certification is only valid for 3 years. All right, and we got our first comment here that I just saw coming in from Brian. Thank you for these live streams. I took your prep course. I am working through simulations, and I'm scheduled to exam on the 6th of February. Well, good luck, Brian, on your exam. I'm pretty sure with the course and the exam simulator, you're good to roll. Now then, everybody, thank you as well, everyone, for being here with me on this live stream. Don't forget, I have a few other live streams coming up, or if you're watching this recorded, they are already available to you at this time. Thank you for joining me, and until next time. But before you go, this lesson here is part of a series in which I guide you to be better prepared for your CAPM exam. So please visit pm-prepcast.com/CAPM guide to watch all of these lessons and webinars and videos.